Another thing would be a diffuser. This is also something that you can find, okay, you can buy it already made, or you can make it yourself. There are numerous sites on the internet where you can find instructions how to do this also. The point is with acoustics, if you go online and try and find a web shop where you can buy some already pre-made acoustic device, you're going to pay a lot of money and it's going to look pretty. But if you want to build it yourself, you can do it for not so much money, but let's say it's not going to look so pretty. So the thing with acoustics is that you can get it cheap, but it's not going to be pretty, or you can get it expensive and then it's going to be pretty. So it's going to look good, so you decide. And of course, if you want to build it, you have to learn some things about this. What a diffuser is, it's also quite clear. The point is, let's say I have this is a sound source, this is a speaker, okay? If this speaker originates sound and this sound goes like a laser, let's say, like so, you can easily predict where this sound is going to bounce. Imagine a laser, it's going to bounce like this. But if you have, and this reflection is going to be loud, it's going to be almost as loud as the direct sound, and you don't want that. If you have a diffuser, you're going to have a device which is going to spread out this energy. You're not going to have one loud reflection, you're going to have the original sound and many reflected sounds which are going to be less powerful in energy. So you're going to spread the reflection all around the room. No individual reflected sound is going to be extremely loud, and this basically makes the sound much more maintainable or containable. It makes it be more useful to you. You don't want loud reflections, you want many quiet reflections. And this is of course just scratching the surface about diffusers, but usually what you will find in big studios is, if let's say these are the monitors and the monitoring position is in between the monitors, at the back wall there you're going to have these large diffusers so that the reflections from the back are not really strong, but they are spread out and weak. Okay, so you have some reverb, you have some reflections, but they are not too loud. Okay, so this would be it. A diffuser. If you don't have a diffuser, if you have a flat surface, what you have is the source, a really loud reflection, which is almost equal in energy to this one, which is bad, of course. Or if you have the source and this diffuser, you have a lot of weaker reflections, and basically this is much more, but let's say better for a studio situation. Okay. The next important topic about a home studio, of course, would be the monitors. Of course, speaker monitors, the things you listen your mixes through. You have gazillions of different monitor types, expensive, cheap. Okay, let me just open the window a bit, it's getting stuffy. Okay, so depending on how much money you have, if you have a lot of money, then you can close your eyes and buy those which cost 40,000 euros. You're not going to make a big mistake. But if you don't have 40,000 euros, then you have to explore a bit. All of these monitors can work in different. These are, let's say, some are cheaper, some more expensive, but these are in the range of, I don't know, 400 euros each. So these are the Adams, Kirk VXT, and Yamaha HS series. These are all good monitors. What you have to take care about is, usually people think that studio monitors need to be flat in the frequency response, meaning that they don't color your mix at all. That's not true, because the point is that different manufacturers have different, let's say, philosophies about creating studio monitors. They can make them a bit colored because it makes sense. Let's say if you're talking about the low end of the snare drum, maybe it's going to be helpful if a monitor is colored in a way that it boosts the low frequencies so that you can focus on the muddy part of your mix more. Let's say for some types of music like rock or metal, that's okay, that's cool, because with a lot of guitars, with a lot of bass, with a lot of snare drum, you can have a really muddy low-mid frequency range. So some colored speakers are going to help. But in general, really nothing too helpful I can say, except that you have to try and go to the shop and listen to them. inform yourself on the internet what people think for this and this type of music. Of course, you have to inform yourself, is the guy giving you the advice, does he know what he's talking about? Because you have a lot of people all around the internet who know everything, but they don't help you too much. They sit around the internet and help other people, then they turn on their monitoring system like 2 times in a year. So you have to be careful who you listen to. Okay, so these are cool. Adam A5, A7, Kirk VXT, Yamaha HS, you have HS80, HS, I think HS50. Yeah. The point is, this woofer size is of course important. Bigger the woofer size, lower in the frequency range it can go, so the lower the frequencies it can produce. The point is that if, let's say, this speaker is smaller than this speaker, it's not true that this speaker cannot produce some extremely sub frequencies. It is going to produce them, but they're going to be quieter. So the point is that if you want a lot of sub, you have to buy or larger speakers or a dedicated sub. Okay? But you can work also on smaller speakers, especially if you have a small room. So the size of the speaker matters, but if you have, imagine you have this large sub and you have a room which is extremely small, of course, you don't need, it's not all, in the speaker sense, bigger is not always better. This depends on your room. Okay? So, active versus passive speaker. An active speaker is a speaker which already has an amplifier built in the box. These are all active speakers, so you don't need a dedicated amplifier. Most of the popular speakers that you can buy today are active speakers, but you just have to be careful that you don't say, "Oh, look, these sound cool, they're cheap, I'll buy them," and you didn't check that they're actually passive, so that you need an amplifier for them. So just usually 95% of consumer speakers are active, but just take care that you don't not know that. Okay, so flat frequency response, mentioned this already. It doesn't have to have a flat frequency response, and that's usually the difference between studio versus hi-fi speakers. Hi-fi speakers are much more colored, so for a hi-fi speaker that you would buy with a normal stereo system, they can be expensive, they can sound really cool, but they are usually made to color the sound, not to surgically show you what's wrong with your mix, but usually they will have this frequency response that they boost the low frequencies and boost the high frequencies and cut off the mid frequencies, so they are going to sound better. We're not going to go into why, but the point is they are not going to show you what you have in your mix. So the thing is that the biggest mistake people can do is that they plug in some speakers. Let's say they want to buy a speaker set for monitoring for their home studio. The biggest mistake is that they play some song and they say, "I don't like how this sounds," in the sense that it doesn't sound pretty to them. That's not the point. Your monitors shouldn't sound good in a way that they are pleasing. You know, they should sound good in a way that they show you the mistakes that were done in the mix. So if you plug in some monitors and then, whoa, this is bad, I don't like this, this sounds different than at me at home, and I can hear a mistake, something that's bad, that's cool then. So it's not that a studio monitor should make everything sound good, it should make everything sound in such a way that you can actually hear every small mistake.